Over the decades that followed, the coin passed from hand to hand in countless small transactions. Bus fares, street stalls, market vendors, rice, fruit, small fairs up and down the city, the coin was part of daily life. Each one bore the wear of time. Slight scratches, soft edges, muted fields, a dull sheen. Most of them became nearly indistinguishable one from another, until one day a collector noticed something. A particular specimen, saved long ago, preserved by someone who had kept it inside a book, inside a safe, or perhaps simply tucked away in a drawer, remained in unusually fine condition. Its fields were mostly smooth, its relief crisp. The portrait of Admiral E retained much of its original sharpness. The letters and numbers on both sides had not lost their fidelity to the mint's engraving tools. The luster inside the letters, a glint when light struck, spoke of a preservation few coins enjoyed. Collectors began to mention this 1982 coin in whispers. Someone who had one in exceptional condition might trade stories about where they acquired it, how they kept it safe, how they pressed gloves to avoid touching the surfaces. Tales circulated. Coins that had unusual toning, a bluish-silver sheen. Coins that had minting anomalies, slight off-center strikes, tiny doubling in the lettering, micro-scratches hidden to all but careful magnification. These anomalies added mystique, value. To some, these were flaws. To others, they were signs of rare survival, markers of a piece that had beaten the odds, had escaped the ravages of circulation, of being melted, of being lost. At an auction years later, a coin of this 1982 series was consigned. It had been preserved in a capsule, the owner insisting it was near mint state, perhaps MS-65 or higher under a collector's grading system. The bidding opened quietly. Those who recognized its rarity and condition bid fiercely. The coin was described in the catalog with words meant to rouse desire. Full luster, sharp strike, minimal contact marks, original surfaces. Photographs accompanied the description. The lighting revealed crisp edges, elements of the relief standing boldly against the flat fields. The eagle eye could see micro details on the Admiral's armor, his hair waves, the serration of the rim, the fine grain of the metal. As the gavel approached its final blow, the price soared. Bids came from distant continents: South America, Europe, North America, East Asia. Collectors, dealers, museums, even each seeing in that coin more than metal. They saw history. They saw preservation. They saw prestige. The final bid, $6 million. A sum almost inconceivable for what had once been everyday change. For $6 million one could buy multiple apartments, rare works of art, decades of living. But collectors know that value is not always measured in utility. It is measured in rarity, demand, condition, story. People ask, how can something so small hold such value? Partly it is the scarcity. Most of the 1982 coins were used until they were worn down, lost, held in piggy banks, tossed in jars. Some melted for metal value in times when coins were collected for scrap. Others corroded or damaged. Very few escaped unscathed. Among those survivors, even fewer are flawless. Some bear the slightest blemish. Others show patina, discoloration, or oxidation. A coin untouched, preserved, flawless, is like the last bloom of a flower in a storm. The rarity multiplies with condition. Then there is provenance. Coins come with stories. One collector claimed that his coin had been stored in a sealed jar in a mountain house, untouched by humid air. Another said his had been a gift to his father, who kept it in his pocketbook, but never used it. Another came from a batch discovered in a bank's vault after decades of neglect. These stories add weight. When someone sets out a coin for auction, presenting papers, earlier sales, photos, history, the value increases not just because of condition, but because the world acknowledges that this coin survived not merely by virtue of its metal, but by virtue of human care. Design matters too. Admiral E as subject is significant. He is a figure of honor, courage, resistance. His image commands respect, not just domestically but among people who know history. On the coin, the portrait is dignified. The relief sculpted with detail. His shoulders drape in armor. The gaze set forward. The hair or headgear, the shaping of the facial features, all combine to give a sense of someone who stood against overwhelming odds. The reverse design is clean, balanced. The numeric 100 stands bold. The year 1982, exact. All the fonts, the spacing, the rim milling, these are things that collectors scrutinize. Any deviation becomes either flaw or treasure. Minting misalignment, die cracks, doubling, planchet flaws. Condition grading plays a massive role. Coins are examined under magnification. Toning is inspected. Any sign of cleaning, even gentle polishing, can ruin value. Contact marks, scratches, hairlines from handling, corrosion, oxidation, loss of original luster, all degrade value. Those coins that escaped those dangers become jewels. Even the slightest mark in a visible place can drop value by tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the auction and buyer. In collector culture, there is something almost romantic about the preserved specimen. It is a relic of its time. A piece of metal carrying inscriptions of government, date, authority, usage. It was minted during a time of economic and social consensus. 1982 South Korea stands in the latter decades of fast modernization and growth. The coin represents not only the person it depicts but the era it traversed. The shops, the marketplaces, the buses, the changing cityscape, economic flux, inflation, shifting societies. To hold such a coin is to hold a fragment of that history. Auction houses over decades build reputations. They assign catalog numbers, photograph coins in detail, certify condition via independent graders. When such a coin appears, pre-auction estimates often run into six figures. Bidders prepare. Dealers verify authenticity. They examine weight. The coin's mass must match mint specifications. Diameter must match. Thickness. Edge milling. Field smoothness. Luster. Strike quality. They watch for signs of counterfeit. Wrong alloy. Off weights. Details that match known dyes or patterns. Experts consult past auction records. They compare images from decades ago. They check for toning patterns consistent with age, places of storage, environmental exposure. All these contribute to the final price a buyer is willing to risk. Occasionally, rumors circulate. Someone claims to have a coin in perfect condition, but asks privately, avoiding public auction. Others doubt the $6 million figure, suspect hyperbole, inflated catalogs. Yet auctions record prices, catalogs list hammer sales. Buyers sometimes share with media. The mightiest sale whispers become verification. Experts confirm that yes, a coin of this 1982 101 type, preserved in near-perfect mint condition, did indeed sell for millions. This buyer remains secret or at least discreet. The seller likewise. But the record stands. It becomes part of numismatic lore. It becomes the coin that people search, photograph, dream of owning. Collectors compare it to other great numismatic rarities. Coins from centuries past, from ancient civilizations, from failed mints, from